Dear friends and family members, we have discussed about the scientific temper, rational, logical and scientific analytical pathways followed by our forefathers. Now remember that we have got, as I told you earlier, nearly 2000 foundation literature. For all other religion, they have got only one religious book, one book. But for Buddhism, Jainism and Sikhism, Hindu literature become part of those religions because they are the Buddha Dharma, Jaina Dharma, Sikh Dharma are the daughters of Hindu Dharma, part and parcel of Indian Sanatana Dharma. So all are inherited the properties of Hindu Dharma also. But for Semitic religion and other religion, they have got only one book. As I told you earlier, we have got 2000 foundation literature in Sanskrit, 10,000 commentaries in Sanskrit, and more than 1 lakh sub-commentaries in 22 Indian languages and foreign languages. Now we can include foreign languages also, because many great scholars on Indian cultural books are now living world over. I cannot say particularly in Europe or America or like that. Everywhere world over, many scholars are there who are expert in Indian Hindu Dharma based literature. Now these literature are classified, as I told you earlier. In the last class I explained also, Puranas, 18 Puranas and 18 Upapuranas. So remember that Indian literature focus on devolution. What is meant by devolution and what is meant by evolution? From primitive to most sophisticated literature is evolution. From most sophisticated to primitive I mean lower level, does not mean crude or non-refined or anything like that. Primitive I mean for the common man, intellectually, socially, spiritually, psychologically, mentally, academically, lower level. I use the word primitive. It never means that it is crude or non-refined. So evolution from at lower level to most sophisticated. Devolution most sophisticated to lower level. In India, these literature, the starting, as you all know, Vedas. Part of Vedas, Brahmanical literature. Part of Brahmanical literature is Aranyaka. And part of Veda, Brahmana, Aranyaka is 108 Upanishads. These 4 are known as Vedic literature. I will be explaining about it later. So Rigveda is the first Grantha literature of the human race. First book of the human race, Rigveda, about which I shall explain later. But Vedas, part of that becomes Upanishad, Vedanta. The last part of Veda is known as Veda Anda. Anda means last, ending point. Vedanta means the essence of Veda. Essence of Veda. So remember, Vedas are the first set of human literature, composed most sophisticated way with a perfect grammar and perfect messages having variety of recensions, shaka in Sanskrit. In English it is a recension. Rigveda has got 25 or 27 recension. Yajurveda 108 shaka, 108 recension. Samaveda more than 1000 recensions. Atharva Veda 52 recensions. About this I will be explaining later also. But it is very difficult for us to learn, understand and recite Vedas. You know, Shruti is very complicated. Apsume somo apravid yadandar vishwani bheshajaha agninja vishwashambhuvam apasya vishwabheshajihi apapranida bheshajam varudam tanve. Mamajoksha suryam drashe idamava prabhada yatkinjaduridam mayi yadvaham avidudroha yadvashyepa utanrudam. Rigvedam another mantra yati sangachadhvam samvadadhvam samvo manam sijanata deva bhagam yadha purve sanjanana upasade samano mandra samiti samani samanam manasah chittamesham samanam mandram abhimandrayeva samanena voha vishayuhomi samani va agode samana hridayani vaha samanamastu vo mano yada avasu sahasati. This is the Aikamatya Sukta, last Sukta of Rigveda. Very difficult for the common man to learn with the Swara and with the Shruti, ups and downs. So, Rigveda most probably created during Krita Yuga. 4 yugas we say: Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. We need not bother too much about the duration of each yuga. That we will explain later. So suppose we are fixing that Rigveda is created during Krita Yuga. It's very difficult for the common man to understand. Even chanting is difficult, understanding the meaning is difficult. So in Treta Yuga, how to live in the world with the Satyam, Dharmam, Niti, Nyayam. Satyam, Dharmam, Niti, Nyayam, all Sanskrit words. For the Purushartha, Dharmartha, Kama, Moksha, dharmic way of living, dharmic way of making money, unlike our present politicians, dharmic way of enjoying the life, unlike our politicians, dharmic way of getting relinquished, detached and non-bonded from the life, and preparing for living this world. Dharma, dharmic way of living, Vyakti Dharma, Kudumba Dharma, Samuha Dharma, Rashtra Dharma. 4 type of Dharma for each individual. Individual Dharma, Vyakti Dharma. Kudumba Dharma, family Dharma, as the husband, son or brother or father, like that. Mother, daughter, sister and so on. Every individual has got Vyakti Dharma as the citizen of the nation, Kudumba Dharma as a family member, Samuha Dharma as part of Sanatana Dharma and the society, Rashtra Dharma as far as we are concerned. Our Madhra Bhumi is Bharat. Some of you may be living in some other country, that is your Karma Bhumi. Sometimes you might have born there, that will be your Madhra Bhumi. No, don't worry about it, whether your Karma Bhumi is that or Madhra Bhumi is that. Wheresoever you are living, wheresoever people are giving you the comfort to live in that world, that nation, you have got the Dharma connected with that nation as a citizen of that particular country. So remember that. dharmic way of living. How to live in a dharmic way? How to live dharmic way and make money? How to enjoy the life? We are here in between date of birth and date of death. How long we are living is far less important. How we are living is more important. How long Mahatma Gandhi lived? Many of us, we are ignorant about it. How long Narasimha Rao lived? How long Jawaharlal Nehru lived? Or how long Balagangadhara Tilakan, Gopalakrishna Gokhale, how long Ramana Maharshi, how long Ramakrishna Paramahamsa lived, we do not know. And it's not important. But how long Shankaracharya lived and also how long Vivekananda lived, these two are very important, because within 32 years of the life of Shankaracharya, he has done work for about 100 births, or he has accomplished the work of 100 scholars, not less than that, and made 2 round around India, established mutts in different places, visited many temples and given commentary for Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutram, Veda, Chandogya Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and wrote many shlokas, many mantra equivalent shlokas. So within 32 years he could accomplish the work of nearly 100 scholars. Within 32, there the 32 is important. And when Swami Vivekananda was on the deathbed, Samadhi bed, his disciple came to him and asked, what we have to do if you are leaving this world now? So Swami Vivekananda said, I have done what are the things needed for the next 500 years. You just preserve that and popularize that. That is enough. Now you remember, today is 7th September, tomorrow 8th September, 9th September, and 125th year, before 125 year, Swami Vivekananda delivered Chicago lecture on these days in Chicago. 125 years prior, ago, I mean. So we are in Chicago, nearly 2000 delegates are participating in the World Hindu Conference. At that time, the Christians wanted to publicly say we are the last final religion, the topmost religion in the world, when they conducted the program International Parliament of Religion or Parliament of International Religion in Chicago. Now it is National Chicago Museum. And that the ultimate aim of that conference was to proclaim that world religion, international world religion is Christianity. But after 125th year, the Hindus are assembling in Chicago today, tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, 7th, 8th and 9th of September 2018 for celebrating the 125th year. And now we are moving forward, getting acceptance world over, when we unite without a caste or without any barrier of Hinduism, Sikhism or Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, or even Parsi is coming with us. I think Jews also will be slowly coming with us, and also Jainism. They are all coming without any demarcation. For all other religion, demarcation is there. In the Catholic society, even though they have got only one book, one cross, one Jerusalem, one Jesus, one Jehovah, they have got 1413 category of people in Christianity. In Islam also some 13 category are there. Now Shia and Sunni, they will never come together. Shia, Sunni, Ahmadiyya, then Sufi, they make the bomb and they explode the bomb in the Muslim community, and everything is happening among themselves. You can see a Roman Catholic Church to which Latin Catholics will not go. Syrian Catholic will not enter there. Protestant will not go there. Marthoma group will not go there. Jacobite group will not grow there. Even though they have got only one cross, one Jesus, one Jehovah, one Bible, they will not cooperate, coexist and other thing. Whereas we have got hundreds of caste system, Varna system, 4 caste system, but still we are all assembling in Chicago now. That is the greatness of Hindu Dharma. We have got 330 million God concept, 33 crores. Thousands of literature, thousands of acharyas, thousands of subjects written for the thousands of years. Still we are all one. We are internally one. Externally we may be different. They are externally one, internally they are different. Christians and Muslims. So remember that our Vedas, Swami Vivekananda's 125th anniversary of Chicago lecture, we are celebrating. All the Hindus are coming together, and we have to ultimate aim is to learn our dharma. How long we live less important, how we live more important. For which remember that thousands of literature are written not for going to heaven, but to create a heaven in this world. So how long you live, less important. How you live, the question is, I live or I am expected to live a useful, purposeful, fruitful and meaningful life. For a useful life, for myself, my family, my culture, my society and my nation. 5 points. Myself, my family, my culture, my society and my nation. I have to live a useful life. So I shall, and there should be a purposeful life. Merely living or just like that living does not mean anything. It should have a purpose. So useful life, purposeful life, fruitful life, in short meaningful life. For living like this you should follow Purushartha, Chaturvida Purushartha, generally explained in Vedas and Upanishad. Unfortunately it is difficult for us to understand that. So in Treta Yuga, Sri Rama Avatara, Purna Avatara of Sri Rama, explained by Valmiki Maharshi, to show us, demonstrate us how to live the life of an ideal person. See, Maryada Purushottama. That is the explanation given in Valmiki Ramayana, 24,000 shlokas. So, Vedas and Vedangas in the top, below that Valmiki Ramayana with the 24,000 shlokas, below that Mahabharata, devolution theory. Not from lower level to higher level, but from highest level to lower level. Not lowest, but lower level. So I will be explaining about Valmiki Ramayana in my next speech. Below that comes Mahabharata. In my last class I explained about Puranas. What I said, through the stories, take each story and give the message of the story to our generation. I explained it. Every story is to demonstrate that what will happen to the good people in their life, what will happen to the bad people in their life. Nobody is completely good and nobody is completely bad. When the relative proportion of good quality is more, he is known as a good man. Relatively, if he is bad, he is known as bad man. That's the only difference. Some people will be having 95% good in them. They are known as avataras. No hidden agenda, no negative, no anger, no fear, no ego, nothing. They are known as avataras. Bhagavan Vedavyasa, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan Shankaracharya, Bhagavan Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Bhagavan Satya Sai Baba, Jagadguru Mata Vrindanandamayi, Bhagavan Narayana Gurudeva. So Bhagavan, you can put anyone, Bhagavan Lord Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna, Bhagavan Swami Narayana. Why we say Bhagavan? They have got only minimum negative and maximum positive. Rama we call Bhagavan Avatara Sri Rama because very minimum negative, practically no negative and all positive. Madhyada Purushottama, explained in 24,000 shlokas in Ramayana. Coming down is Mahabharata. So remember, Krita Yuga Vedas and Upanishads are written. Not all the Upanishads, 18 Upanishads. After that it came in the later period. And Treta Yuga, Valmiki Ramayana is written. Dwapara Yuga, Mahabharata is written. You know, Bhagavad Gita is written during BC 3140. Bhagavad Gita written during BC 3140. How to arrive that number? Simple way. You know, astronomically, not astrologically, astronomically Kali Yuga started during 3102, February 17th, Thursday, midnight, 11:55. This I have earlier mentioned, I think. Kali Yuga started during BC 3102, February 17th, Thursday, midnight, 11:55. During that period, there was no February, March, April, May, June, July, August, etc. During that period, when that name we could get when we back calculate that period. Now the Kali Yuga is 5119th year. 5119th years. That year started on Vishuvat, April 14th, this year. So Kali Yuga started when we back calculated 3102, February 17th, Thursday, midnight, 11:55, when Sun, Moon, Earth, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury came in the Alpha Aries point. 38 years prior to that, Mahabharata war took place. In Mahabharata it is explained that after Mahabharata war, Dharmaputra ruled the nation Hastinapura for 38 years. After that Kali Yuga started and they went to Mahaprasthanika, about 7 kilometers away from Badrinath. We could go there by walk, almost nearer to India-China border. Almost nearer to India-China border. So remember, they ruled for 38 years. Calculate that before Kali Yuga. So 3102 plus 38 is 3140, during when Mahabharata war took place and Bhagavad Gita was advised by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. So in Kali Yuga, Mahabharata was written and Puranas in Kali Yuga. Some of the Puranas might have written in Dwapara Yuga also, Mahabharata in Dwapara Yuga. I hope it is very clear. Mahabharata written in Dwapara Yuga, Ramayana in Treta Yuga, Vedas most probably Krita Yuga. Now another very important thing we should understand is two factors. Now we were taught by the Nehru dynasty that all whatever is told by British people, that is the most scientific, logical and rational. Whatever we wrote in India, according to Jawaharlal Nehru, when he inaugurated Nagarjuna Sagar Dam in Andhra, he declared that the most blunder did by Nehru for annihilating, wiping out India, destroying Indian culture. He was the head of the department. He declared that in India We have got some philosophy and some religion, but we do not have any science and technology. We have to import science and technology from the West. This message propagated throughout India by the Nehruvian Congress people created such a terrible inferiority complex in the mind of the Indians. And we decided that India is zero in science and technology. We have to depend upon the West and import science and technology. From that day started our inferiority complex, psychological depression. So remember that. We started blindly following the West. And West, during the period of Lord Macaulay and Max Muller, they created the most blunder story for looting India. We have to learn it with the Indian literature, then only we will understand that. So what they said, Max Muller and his colleagues of the Indian rulers, they created the Aryan invasion theory, which is nothing but the blunder. Aryan means glorious people. Krinvando Vishwamadyam. Let us make the world the abode of glorious people. The wife used to call the husband Aryaputra. The Ayurvedic knowledge used to be called as Aryaveda or Ayurveda. Ayurveda means it's a great, created by great people. Some trees are also known as Aryaveda and so on. India is known as Aryavarta, abode of the glorious people. Right from Vedic period it is there. Unfortunately, the Britishers wanted to create an impression in the mind of Indians. What was the ultimate aim? Divide and rule. Now some of the Kerala Christians are also doing divide and exist. Dividing on religious ground for conversion and so on. We will discuss about it later. Now we will see, when I say later, definitely we will explain it. Not merely for escaping the subject, but for focusing the present subject. Why the English people wanted the Aryan invasion theory, when they invaded India, when the French invaded, Portuguese invaded, the Dutch invaded, and previous to that one, 650 years, the Muslims invaded, right from Ghazni, Ghori, Khilji slave dynasty up to Mughal dynasty, people invaded India. The English people could understand that surviving in India is not that easy. Even Alexander was forced to go back 2300 years ago. So Britishers took another treachery, fraud. They said that you are the people who known as Aryas, and you came from Europe having the same blood as we have got the same blood of Aryan. Aryan means glorious people. You came to India earlier, long back. You massacred Dravidians, killed the Dravidians and occupied India. So you came here earlier. We are now coming from Europe, part of England, to India. So you are the earlier bird and we are the late birds. But we are of the same nature, having Aryan blood. So we are brothers. You came early, we are coming later. So we have to share India, we have to exploit India, we have to loot India, we have to utilize India together. Because you are our elder brothers. You came earlier, destroyed the Dravidians, and now living in India, utilizing everything available in Indian continent. We came later. So we are brothers. We have to share, we have to care, and we have to cure. This mentality could be created by Aryan invasion theory, and English people taught this theory to the Indian schools, and Nehru, the person who butchered Indian culture, And he supported that theory, and through UGC and through our universities and JNU, Jawaharlal Nehru University, he started propagating Aryan invasion theory, creating in the mind of every Indian that we are not Indian, we are living on a rented house in India. The originals of India are Dravidians. There is no Dravidian word in Vedas or anywhere. There may be the word Dramila or Dasyu. It never means that it is another race or something like that. So Aryan invasion theory created by Max Muller, when he and his colleagues gave a deliberate, eloquent lecture in Cambridge University about Aryan invasion. Hundreds and hundreds of English and European scholars listened to that and approved that, and that crude, crooked theory was utilized for suppressing, oppressing and depressing Indians. And it is propagated by the Western knowledge gainer Jawaharlal Nehru and his family, and started propagating, making India like a Western country. So Aryan invasion is a myth, it's a humbug, useless theory for dividing and ruling India. Even now in the schools it is being taught. That is one negative that we had. Now another negative is still horrible. You know, in Bible it is told that Jesus Christ is the 909th generation of Adam and Eve from the Eden garden. Say for example, Bible tells you 100th generation, 100th position. First Adam, next Cain, Ephraim and so on, up to 100 generations over when Jesus was born. So what will be the age of Adam and Eve? You just back calculate, 100 generations back calculate. If somebody X has got a daughter, she may be marrying about 2021. 1 or 2 years, next boy or girl will be born. That fellow will be marrying about 20-21 years, another generation will be coming. So every 20 or 25 years, within the range of 20 and 25 years, next generation will be coming. So one generation does not mean 80 years or 85 years. It's not the life expectancy of an individual. It is nothing but the next generation, next generation. Say for example, we can take it as 25 years. So from Adam to Jesus, 100 generations. So how many years? 2500 years. 25 into 100, 2500 years. So if we calculate back from now, 2500 years, 2018, together it will be nearly 4518. Let us take it as 5000 years from now back. From Jesus backward 3000 years. Forward 2000. Backward 3000. Why we got the 3000? Approximately one generation we are, for the sake of arguing, not fixing as 20, 21 or 25, but 30. So 30 into 100, 3000 years prior to Jesus, Adam lived. So Adam is the first human being as man, and God created Eve from the backbone. So Eve was also with them. So the human race started the most blunder, useless, fraud, cooked blunder story of Adam and Eve. It's not the evolution according to them. It's nothing but all of a sudden the man and woman got created by the God. So can you expect that anything in the world, are 1.2 million animals or fish or birds or human being, nothing should be there prior to this 3000 BC. Everything created after Adam and Eve. What a blunder kept in the mind of the British historian, including W. Smith and many so-called historians, created just like that. Now what is happening for the last nearly 25 years, you know? A human body 69,000 years old could be excavated from Ural mountains, just gone down frozen, and nearly 10 years ago it could be excavated. 2 million year old human skull could be excavated from Mongolia. Millions and millions of years old human body, skeletal system, hair and so on could be excavated from African continent and other places. So the humbug, blunt, crude, what I have to say, fraud story of Adam and Eve, buried in the DNA of the English historians and American and European historians, could date all our Vedas and other things only around 1500 BC, 1700 BC and so on, because just 1200 prior to that only Adam and Eve created. But now you know, using the Geiger-Müller counter, using the radioactivity of carbon could be measured now using the Geiger-Müller counter, and the oldest artifact, pure copper, pure bronze, pure brass, could be excavated from nearly 1000 archaeological sites from various parts of India. The backmost period is BC 8275 plus or minus 75. BC 8000. So Adam and Eve is BC 3000. Indian artifact, pure copper, could be made only by human being. Brass and bronze never exist in the nature, never exist in the soil, could be created only by human beings. So our science and technology, our knowledge goes back to 8000 BC plus 2000 AD, 10,000 years. So we are all taught two wrong things. One, the date of our Vedas, date of our Ramayana, date of our Mahabharata and other thing, far nearer, adjacent to the Bible. Very recently, some of the Christians, crude, fraud, cheating Christians, particularly so-called Dr. Naina, last week has written a book, Ishavasya Upanishad. He declared that Ishavasya Upanishad, which is the part of Yajurveda, 40th chapter, Vachasanayi, Madhyandina, Yajurveda Samhita, that 40th chapter, Ishavasya Upanishad, is fully about Jesus Christ. The 400 and odd page containing book is being sold through Amazon now. It's a huge amount also, 435 rupees or something like that. He is declaring that Ishavasya Upanishad is written around AD 400, after Jesus Christ. Sometimes whenever I read this cooked Jesus related book stolen from Hindu Dharma, I used to say many people are being hit by the lightning and thunder. Many people are being bitten by the cobra. Why these fraud people putting a doctor or professor, stealing Hindu Dharma literature and converting the literature also into Christianity? Not only Hindus converted into Christianity, but Hindu literature, Hindu acharas, vicharas, sankalpas are all being converted into Christianity for glorifying Christianity, because they have got only one story book. The most crude story book in the world is Bible, written for the most primitive people lived in the desert of Israel. That's the only book. No addition, deletion, modification and correction could be made in that one. Not permitted to. So in such a book, nothing glorious is there. The West rejected it. The developed countries threw it to the dustbin. and Christian churches are being sold and auctioned world over. Many others are purchasing that and making their divine abode for this reason. So now Jesus Christ, so-called Bible, will also get rejected from India. Before that, they want to see that when Indian glories are stolen, looted and modified to put in the Bible and being claimed by the Christians that these are all Christian property taken by Hindus. This is what is happening. In all over India, the churches are nowadays being constructed in the form of the temple. Mantras, Eshu Sahasranama, Kristu Bhagavata, Kristu Gita. One IAS officer, Babu Paul, has written Kristu Gita. Only for, what I have to say, glorifying the primitive knowledge existing in the Bible. They want to survive, that's all. They know pretty well that they cannot survive, for which the bad material in the good cover. Bad material with sugar or jaggery mixed from Indian heritage to that one. Now coming back to our thing. So two things. One, age and period of all our literature being re-estimated and brought to near to Jesus Christ. Whereas originally Vedas can go back 6000, 7000 BC. And our Mahabharata can also go BC 3140. That is what I wanted to say now. So I explained Puranas, the lower level of the literature. If you take from bottom to top, I explained that it is Puranas for the common men. Above that Mahabharata, above that Valmiki Ramayana, above that Vedas, above that Upanishad. This is the way in which now we are looking into it. But the creation of this literature, the first Upanishad or Vedanta, from there devolution took place to Vedas. Even the Vedas, first mandala of Rigveda is Vedic Sanskrit, whereas 10th mandala of Rigveda is modern Sanskrit almost. So even Vedas are not written all of a sudden. That we will discuss when we come to Vedas. So for the common man it is Purana, still enlightened it is Mahabharata, still enlightened it is Valmiki Ramayana, still enlightened people it is Vedas, and the most enlightened people it is Upanishad. But the creation of this literature is downwards, devolution. So for our better understanding, last class we explained about Puranas. So Puranas, the total material is conveyed through stories. I think I have told you in the last class, I have taken my MBA degree 2 years back. When we were all taught in the IIT Bombay campus, ICFI Business School, 14 days contact classes were there, right from 7 AM to 7 PM. Then case studies up to 9 PM. Full day, 14 days we were there, including Saturdays and Sundays. Keeping the accountancy and finance part of the subject. All other classes were the stories connected with the business, experiences connected with the business, messages connected with the business, truth and fact connected with the business. Only 4 parts were there, all the 14 days. Stories, experiences, messages, truth and fact about the business. Now as far as we are concerned, stories are Puranas about good people, bad people, educated people, illiterate people, Asuras, Rakshasas, Avataras, Rajas, Kings and Rishi stories. are explained in 18 plus 18 Puranas. 18 Purana and 18 Upapurana. But when you go to the next level, Mahabharata, 1,25,000 shlokas are there. Might have written about 5,000, 7,000 years ago. Might have written during that period. Might have done addition, deletion, modification and correction also. Permitted in India. Nobody will be telling you that you have to keep the literature intact. Nothing should be added, nobody will say. Nothing should be removed, nobody will say. Modification should not be made, nobody will say that. That is your freedom. You have got the freedom to do addition, deletion, modification and correction. Wheresoever needed, that is means the great rishis used to do refinement of the literature. Now Mahabharata 1,25,000 shlokas, of which 60,000 shlokas equivalent explain to you purely the stories of animals, birds and so on. The stories given in Puranas are connected with the human being. Asuras, Rakshasas, Rajas and Prakriti Devata. All the stories including Gajendra Moksha in Mahabhagavata is the story of a king. Hiranyakashipu story, Prahlada story, Dhruva story, Surichi story, Prachina Barhi story and so on. All the Puranas give you the stories of good people and bad people. Whereas in Mahabharata, all the stories are connected with the animals. The hare and the tortoise, the rabbit and the tortoise story, the rabbit and the lion, and the fox and the God story, and the owl and the crow story. All the stories are animal connected stories. These are all the stories from Mahabharata. So remember, in Mahabharata we have got animals, birds and so many type of living animals. I will say animals only. Their stories are there. Remaining 65,000 shlokas, are the experiences of Pandavas and Kauravas and all those who are connected with them. Experiences. And they were all historical figures. They are not story men. They are not players, as we can see in Puranas. The story characters are there in Puranas, but in Itihasa, what the Itihasa means? Iti iha asita iti Itihasa. Like this existed here in this world. That means history. But you know, Pandavas 5 people, Kauravas many people, those who are associated with them like Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, Vidura, Karna, Shikhandi and so many people. So many people are there, were there. Even in Bhagavad Gita, the first chapter itself tells you the names of the kings ruled during that period in different countries of India. Different Rajapada connected with the Kauravas or connected with the Pandavas. So remember, it is purely Mahabharata is the good experience and the bad experience of Dharmaputra. Good and bad experiences of Gandhari. Good and bad experiences of Dhritarashtra. Good and bad experiences of Lord Krishna. Whether it is Kundi, Arjuna, Bhima, Nagula, Sahadeva, Shikhandi, Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, and you take anybody, Duryodhana, Dushasana, Shakuni, you take anybody, major historical players in Mahabharata can come around 20 to 25. Can come around 20 to 25. They are historical figures. Remember that. You should never say Sri Krishna Katha. You should never say Kunti Mata ki kahani. ये तो धृतराष्ट्र की कहानी है, बिल्कुल नहीं, कहानी नहीं है वो, महात्मा गांधी की कहानी, ऐसा नहीं बोलना. Mahatma Gandhi is a historical figure. He lived here with flesh and blood. Story of Vivekananda, wrong. Story told by Vivekananda is right. It's the history of Vivekananda. Now you know in Pandava and Kaurava Kula, their history being explained like stories, just like Bahubali. You have seen Bahubali movie? It's the history of Mahishmati nation existed during Treta Yuga in between Gujarat and Pakistan. Mahishmati country was located in between present Gujarat and Pakistan. The history of the king and Rajamata, that is explained through Bahubali 1, Bahubali 2 as Charitam. Charitram or Itihasa explained like stories. It's known as Rama Charita Manasam. Charita means the history explained like a story. So, Sri Krishna Charita, history of biography of Lord Krishna explained like a story. Dharmaputra Charitam, Kundi Charitam, Gandhari Charitam, their biography explained like stories for creating an interest in the mind of the listeners and tellers. So our 65,000 shlokas of Mahabharata, 65,000 shlokas of Mahabharata, they are nothing but the good experiences of the people. Bad experiences of the people explained it to you. If you want to behave or live like the good people, you can live like that. You have got the freedom to live like Shakuni. You have got the freedom to live like Gandhari, who tied her eyes because her husband was blind. You can live like Bhishma, knowing pretty well what is meant by Dharma. Bhishma knew pretty well what is meant by Dharma. And Bhishma pledged that he will protect Hastinapura. He took the pledge, he took the oath that he will protect the country. Instead of that, his pledge and oath got diverted, and he said, he thought, instead of protecting the country, he started protecting the rulers of the country. Now many Congress people are pledging to protect the Roman Catholic Italian woman who is no way connected with India. Instead of protecting India and Congress, they are pledging to protect Sonia Gandhi. And just like Telangana Chief Minister told today about Rahul Gandhi as a buffoon. Today he said as a buffoon. 10 times he told, repeated the same word. So our Congress people are not protecting our country, not pledging to protect India, not pledging to protect Congress, but behaving as though it is their responsibility to protect this buffoon, Rahul Gandhi, or the Roman Catholic Italian lady, Sonia Gandhi. Why not Indian leader? Why not Indian way of life? Coming back to our original point, Bhishma pledged to protect the nation, but he just distorted it, and he indirectly thought that it is his dharma to protect the most adharmic rulers of the country, like Duryodhana, Dushasana and others. And Drona also did the same thing. Knowing dharma, Bhishma followed adharma, for which he got the punishment of lying in Sharashaya when he took part with the adharma. And Dronacharya had the pathetic death because he was also working for the adharmic people. And remember that nobody in Dharma Shastra has told that if your husband is blind, you should also live like a blind woman. Nobody has told. If husband is blind, you have got more responsibility to nurture your children, giving care of your husband also. Instead of that, she tied her eyes to show the Padivritya Bhalam, Padivritya chastity. Wrong. What we have to learn? Hundreds and thousands of experiences in Mahabharata should be taken. Never behave like a Gandhari. If your husband has got any problem, compensate that by doing overwork. Instead of following the same physical abnormality in your body, you should compensate the limitations of the husband and nurture the children, give them dharmic pathway. That Gandhari did not do. That is the reason why Gandhari and Dhritarashtra was forced to understand their children. All the 100 children were killed when the parents were living. And Dhritarashtra always wanted to protect his abnormal, egoistic son. Wanted to make Duryodhana the king of the country. So if your son is bad, don't impose them on the society. Now Congress is doing that. Sonia Gandhi is doing. This buffoon is being put on the head of the Indians. Next Prime Minister, he acts like that. Going and hugging the present Prime Minister as though he is the father of that man. So remember, in Mahabharata it is told, knowing dharma, never support adharma. Bhishma did that. And Drona never taught anything to Ekalavya, but took Guru Dakshina as the thumb. You should not, if you are not teaching anybody, if you are not teaching X or Y, how can you take Guru Dakshina from them? You have done something wrong. Shaguni created the problem in the family, not for any outsider. And Dharmaputra and others had to go to the forest because mother did not prevent. Kunti Mata never prevented Dharmaputra from playing the wrong dice. Shaguni played the wrong dice. Dharmaputra could have invited Krishna to play the dice. Dharmaputra never allowed Krishna to come inside. So they had to spend 13 years in the forest exclusively because of their own problem. For every bad action there is an equal and opposite bad reaction. That is what they had to suffer for 13 years in the forest, because they played in the wrong way. Bhima, Arjuna, Nagula, Sahadeva could have told Dharmaputra, we are not supporting you for this dice playing. They could have told, they kept mum, kept quiet. Finally what happened? They also had to go to the forest. So many points are there in Mahabharata for us to learn. Those who are playing with Duryodhana, all of them got wiped out from the surface of the globe earth. Whenever you are living, be truthful. Take part in dharmic activity in the life. Never share your time, energy, knowledge and physical health for adharmic activity. If not today, tomorrow you will be affected by that. Mahabharata teaches us whatever you have done yesterday should not create problem for you today. Whatever you told yesterday should not create problem for you today. Mahabharata tells you whatever you are telling today, whatever you are doing today should not create a problem for you tomorrow. That time will move backwards and we have to move forward. Remember that tomorrow will become today, today will become yesterday. But we are moving. When you are at the age of 50, next year it is 51. The second 52, 53, like that you are moving forward. Time is moving backward. A day will come, you will have to go back. Whether you are going to heaven or hell, we do not know. But we create our own heaven and we create our own hell in this world. We create our own heaven and we create our own hell in this world. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction to be experienced by the actor. To be experienced by the actor in this world. Good action means a good result, good reaction. Bad action means a bad reaction. That you will have to experience here. So remember, Mahabharata teaches us not to live like the Mahabharata historical figures, but if you find X is good, take the good qualities of X and apply in your life. If you find Duryodhana is bad, if an individual becomes good because of his character, an individual is becoming bad because of his character. So, never adopt any character, any hobby, any Swata Siddha Bhava of a bad man in your life. You need not even have to do trial and error experiment for that. Never become like Veerappan, never become like Osama bin Laden, never become like Saddam Hussein, never try to become like a Gaddafi, never try to become like a Phulan Devi, never try to become the fraud politicians now ruling different states or country in different parties. Good people follow them. Good people follow them. Sri Narendra Modi once said, I never wanted to become a great man. Whatever opportunity I got, I utilized to make India great. Not that I want to become great. My opportunities I used for making India great. So remember, our character, take the good from Dr. C.V. Raman. Take the good from Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Take the good from the people who are living now. Take the good from the people who lived till yesterday, near past. Take the good from those who lived far past. We have got two literature. One Mahabharata, another Valmiki Ramayana, demonstrating the good and also demonstrating the bad. Take the good from the good people and understand the bad from the bad people. Never take the bad in our life. Take the good and live a useful, purposeful, fruitful and meaningful life. Remember that. Mahabharata might have written 5,000 years ago. Now we are living in the 21st century scientific and technological era. Make it sure that whatever you are learning from Mahabharata is not for going to heaven or also not for preventing from our movement towards hell, but for creating a heaven in this world in the 21st century and not creating a hell in the 21st century in this world. So Mahabharata never advises you to follow that pathway. Mahabharata gives you the stories and experiences of the people in which good and bad are there. You take the good if you want to be a good man. You take the bad, I need not tell what will happen to you. So it is the experiential, demonstrative, practical management, life management book having Bhava Raga Talam Bharatam. We will be explaining about Ramayana after 2-3 days. Tomorrow morning I am leaving for a tour to North Kerala. I will be back after 2 days. My pranams to you, teach others, spread. Remember that today, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, world Hindus are coming together for a stronger binding, creating the world of Hindus. For Asadoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. My pranams to you. Devadabhya Pidrabhyascha Mahayogibhya evacha Namaswadhayai Swahayai Nityameva Namo Nama. All the great, omnipotent, omnipresent, divine power controlling the universe. Our pranams to our forefathers, including our parents who were instrumental for bringing us to this world to enjoy the world, and the great rishis and yogis who utilized their time, energy and knowledge for enriching the people of the world, and the omnipotent, omnipresent divine power existing inside me and outside me, inside you and outside you. To that omnipotent, omnipresent power also, we are all doing our Danda Namaskaram and Pranam. Thank you very much. My pranams to you.